Hi everyone, I'm Rob Menzies and welcome back to my channel. Today we are here doing the first review of the first test ride I'm doing on my middleweight naked bikes, and the first one is going to be on the MV Brutale 800. I'm here at Moto Corsa in Gillingham that's been very kind enough to let me allow to do a test ride. I'm going to bring you along with you, give you a walk around the bike, perhaps take a couple of road shots, and we'll see what we think of the bike and remind ourselves as we go through this series. So stay tuned. So here we go. This is the MV Augusta Brutale RR. So I've literally just taken it out of the showroom. I am literally 2 minutes down the road, just stopped to put some fuel in it. And before I even get doing any kind of test rides, I just wanted to give you first impressions of it. So first thing you gotta say is this bike looks absolutely freaking epic. So single side arm or single-sided swing arm, get me teeth right, triple exhausts. That just like looks cool. I like the seat. I like the way that they've got the cut-out bit under the seat, and I think the way that it's all kind of exposed around the engine's really cool. Front end looks really decent, so you've got a really decent set of Brembos, and you can see that it's got some really just great style into it. I think the headlight looks really nice. Generally I think it's looking good. We've also got over here the MV quick shifter and auto blipper, so it's automatic on up and down, so that's quite cool. And then from a dash perspective, again we'll turn that one on so you can see what's coming out through the dash, and quite a few things that we've got. So we've got the rider mode over here, which affects the traction control. We've got the temperature gauge that is over here. We've got a gear indicator, a rev counter, and obviously the speedo. This also gives you the time in really small writing, ABS, whether it's on or off, and the traction control level. So over here we also have the engine maps, which allows you to change whether you're going normal, rain, sport, or if you want to go on a custom. And then over here you've also got some settings that you can do, which basically changes the trip layout and also lets you dive in on the trip element. So those are all the good things that I actually quite like. The next thing I would say is I'd like to just talk to you about a few things, first impression, that I don't like. Turning signal. Turning signals are actually on these really tiny LED lights that is down here. I think it flashes here. The first time I put the indicators on, there's no sound, there's hardly anything that's there, so I could hardly see it at all, to be honest. So that was a bad one, didn't like that. Next thing, this seat looks great, but is as hard as bloody nails. And also that bit just there does dig in your leg, as well as over here. Why would you put an extra lump here? So it's lovely smooth down, but you've got a lump here, digs in your leg. So digging in your leg here, and the trellis digging in your leg a little bit. So I've got to say that one not quite so good on first impressions. Let's see what it's like once I've ridden it a bit more. Other thing that I would say is when you're putting your foot on the foot pegs, I have noticed that the guard for the exhaust, you do kind of tend to find that your heel is pushed out a little bit, and it doesn't seem a natural position when you've got your toe on the pegs. So again, that one seems just a little bit different. But now going to go and ride it, and let's see what it's like, and give you a bit more of a review once I've done a little bit more riding on it, and we can take it from there. But I've got to say, from a looks perspective, really impressed. Absolutely fantastic. How cool is this bike? So stay with me, and we'll do a little bit on the road, and I'll also give you a review when I'm done. Okay, so now been out, had a really decent ride on this bike and got a really decent view on it. Suspension on this thing is really good. I've got to say, it handles the road very well indeed. B roads and A roads is absolutely where it loves it, and is very pleasant. The thing that I found really interesting is I had a blip down obviously a private road, 80-90 miles an hour, and there was hardly any issues at all with any kind of wind on your body. There was wind, but not so that it's blowing you all over the place. So it's very capable if you've got to do dual carriageways, but got to say the place where it loves it and where it wants to stay is A roads and B roads. It loves the twisties. Very interesting on revs, so you using the modes and the engine mapping is really important for this bike. Basically, as you are riding it in the normal mode, you've got to get it above 7,000 revs before you really get any kind of oomph at all. It really feels held back until you get up to that 100 and, well, sorry, not 100. It really feels held back until you get to that 7,000 revs, and then it's like someone flicks a switch and all of a sudden it just wants to zoom off in the distance. When you drop that into sports mode, you can feel in sports mode it's a bit more eager, doesn't like it around town at low revs, so you do need to change between the mappings as you're basically using the different revs and for what you're riding. I did have a bash in rain mode, and rain mode really just dulls absolutely everything down, so there is nothing throughout the rev range at all. The bit that I also found with this is that if you actually get up to the revs where you feel like you need to change gear, you've just got so much more revs. So I spent all of my time in third and fourth gear, basically did not try at all to go up through the gears. You don't need it. The rev range is so long on this, up to 16,000 revs. It's more revs than a sports bike. You do basically find yourself middle of the revs, 7,000 to 9,000 revs in basically the third and fourth gear. Hardly even went into fifth, even going into sixth on dual carriageways. Yeah, you almost feel like you're low revving, like you want to keep it down a gear. With the amount of revs that this thing has got, I mean, I didn't even get close to getting it to redline. But there is one real weird thing, and that is the noise of it. So when you're actually riding it and you're mid revs, sounds lovely, sounds great. But one of the things I would say with this bike is that when you first start it, when it's on tick over, when you're around town, it sounds like a diesel. The tick over noise on this bike is not great. And I've got to say, as well as that, one of the other things you do tend to pick up with on this one is the quick shifter is so amazing, both quick shifting up as well as blipping down, that it feels like an automatic. So I've got to say, one of the things, and this might put you off, is that you kind of feel like you're on an automatic diesel. So I'm going to start the bike up now and let you decide what you think of it. Let's have a bash. So this is engine noise. For me, that just sounds a little bit clattery, a little bit agricultural in its style, but once it's up and running, it sounds like a triple. It's singing quite nicely. So I'm going to go back to the showroom now. We're going to hand this back to the dealership. We're going to have a chat about money, and let's see how it goes, and I'll give you a final review of it in a minute. Okay, so back in the car now. Test ride is completed. Gone in and spoken to the dealership. Got to say, the dealership absolutely fantastic. Gone and seen a guy called Paul. He was really great. Would recommend. So if you guys are looking for this style of bike, either a KTM or MV Augusta, and you're in or around the Somerset area, then this is a dealership to definitely come talk to, because they really are supportive. That said and done as well, though, gone through and talked about pricing a little bit more. So what I've managed to get is either £2,000 down and around the £155 mark, or £2,500 down and about just below the 150 grand mark. There's a couple of bikes that do come out. I'm going to drop some photos up for you guys to see now. And so looking at the colours of the bike that I actually rode was a limited edition bike, it would seem. Normal colours is either a white bike, or there is the burgundy kind of reddy style coloured bike. But what I did see in the dealership, and I'll put some photos up here, is you do get to see what is called the America bike. It's about 750 quid extra to buy, but has a lot better residuals 3 years later, so actually works out cheaper, even though it's more expensive. Go figure that one, but it works. And it looks fantastic in blue and red colours, which is my colours, which I love. So yeah, just summing up the bike now, just trying to get a final feeling on the bike. A couple of little niggles, so no fuel, so you've got no idea how much fuel's in the bike. The mode button for changing riding modes I did find was a bit stiff to push, so I kind of actually ended up using the left hand on the right handlebar, so that one was a bit weird. The seat was a bit on the hard side, and I kind of knew that I'd been riding it, in particular inner thighs, kind of felt that one. I'd say really those were the only negatives. I mean, again, the sound of the bike when it was parked up did sound a little bit diesely, I will admit, but when you're riding the thing, it really sounds nice, as you would have heard in the video earlier on. So that's really nice. It's clearly very good build quality. It really does feel very quality gear. I like that a lot. It will ride as slow or as fast as you want it to ride. Using those rider modes, if you're using rain or normal, you can be quite happily pottering around town or doing some very sensible speeds without needing to go silly, and it's fueled very well, so you can do that. But if you want to lug it in sport mode and you want to go and really have some fun and you want to get some pace going, you can do that as well. You've just got to be prepared for the fact that you're going to go through the different modes. Obviously it's got tons of electronics. I'm loving the quick shifter and auto blipper. It was so smooth, it virtually made it seem like an automatic. You know, I'm virtually at a stage here where you could say this car was a bit of a, this bike was a bit of a diesel automatic, but a really good one. And I'd say that in a positive way rather than a negative way, because it really did pull like a train. It really did work very well. It just revs from ear hole to kitchen time. I mean, I only got up to about 9,000 revs on it, and it redlines at 16. The thing has got so much revs, it's scary. So yeah, got to say, I really did like it. I've got a really positive vibe on this one. Obviously it's a bit more expensive than the other ones that I'm going to be riding, so I'm really interested to see, does it give me the fun factor that I'm after and the thrill that I'm after in comparison to the other ones I'm going to go and ride. So stay tuned for all the other test rides. Let's see what we think of the others. We've now got a baseline that we need to compare everything to and everything against. So see you in the next video coming up very soon. Catch you soon. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please remember to not only like the video but also hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos like this in the future. Thanks again for watching, and see you again soon.